Hello, everyone. Recently, I have been seeing people confused about which armors to get. So, I decided to do a review on armors to help clarify some things. Also, this is based on my own opinions and experience, so take it with a grain of salt. Without further ado, let's get started. Armors can be divided into these 5 categories. Every armor will fit into at least one of these. For each category, I will try to cover all the new armors, and also the old ones which have been popular. Let's start with the attack armors. For this category, these 3 are the new ones. Let's look at the details of each of these, starting with the Honey Worker armor. This armor provides attack, crit damage, and 900k damage limit. All of these stats are good for DPS, but nowadays I don't really recommend crit stat, because, unlike before, we don't use strike earrings. And this armor adds more reverse on top of that. Also, this armor will only work well in parties. 900k damage limit is great though, but the way it works is also not good for short fights. So, this armor is not really a good choice in my opinion. Second one is the Cat armor. This armor provides base attack, defense, and damage limit. The base attack provided by this armor is really low. There are other armors which provide double of that, not to mention how slow it is to get that small amount. Also, without the LR weapons, it is hard to get the 900k damage limit. Most people will only get around 600k. Same goes for the defense gain. We need 90k base attack for the max effect. Overall, I don't recommend this armor either. Third is the Trap armor. This was released about a week ago. This armor provides a decent amount of attack. 40% attack will be around 25k for most people. It also provides additional attack depending on the lost HP. So, it is quite good for gaining attack stat. The damage limit is quite bad though. It is same as the Cat armor. For now, I don't really recommend this too, but in future it may have more value. Maybe if a new armor with 10k base attack is released. And lastly, the old armors which have been popular so far. I don't think I need to explain the effects. These armors may have been good before, but not anymore. So, don't bother paying attention to any of these from now. Next are the magic attack armors. These are the top picks right now in this category. Let's look at each of these one by one. First is the Abyss armor. This armor provides a very high amount of magic attack, crit rate, and damage limit. Although, the gains are quite slow. If you haven't noticed yet, this armor is quite similar to Honey Worker armor. Or rather, Honey Worker is similar to this one, since this was released first. Anyway, I don't recommend this armor because of the same reason. Reverse damage nowadays is not desirable with many of the bosses having mechanics like poison. Next is the Sacred Deer armor. This armor is same as the Cat armor from earlier, but for magic. So, I don't think I need to explain why I wouldn't recommend this. Next is the Nekomata armor. This armor provides a very high amount of magic attack, but it requires base element attack opposite of the armor's element. The thing is, without the LR gacha weapons, it is not possible to reach 2k base element. So, we cannot get the max damage limit from this armor. Basically the same issue as the Deer armor. 1.3k is achievable though, which means we can get the max magic attack at least. Last one is the Train Conductor armor. This armor provides magic attack, damage factor, and even the damage limit. To be honest here, this armor is lacking damage limit compared to the new armors, and also the ones which will come in future. But the thing is, this one has all the ideal stats for a DPS. Although the gains are slow, it is still a good armor. But I still don't recommend pulling for this, because the future armors will outclass this one. I will explain this later. Also, there aren't any old armors which are worth mentioning for this category. And finally, the general DPS category. Only these 2 armors looked interesting to me in this category. First is the Stars armor. This one provides attack and magic attack based on max HP. It also provides defense and 1 million damage limit, which will be 800k in most cases. And as you can see, there are no drawbacks, aside from depending on allies and enemy for damage limit. I definitely recommend pulling for this armor, but don't get a full set of this. because we also need to get damage factor or crit damage from the armors. Second is the Gunslinger armor. This one provides attack, crit damage, and the damage limit based on number of enemies. It is quite good when there are 2 or 3 enemies. Also, the reverse damage from this armor cannot kill us like the strike earring. I mostly recommend this for newbies, but it can be usable in the endgame as well. And lastly, these 5 armors. Again, I don't think I need to provide details since most of these are very old. Some of these may still be good for a while, but they will lose value sooner or later. Since we have covered all the DPS armors, let me give you some final thoughts. So far, the best armors in my opinion are the Unlimited Stars and Gunslinger. Currently, we haven't gotten a new armor with damage factor. Some old armors like Villain provide this stat, but they are lacking in damage limit for current standard. New armors are getting around 1 million damage limit, but the old armors have around 600k only. In my opinion, it is better to wait for a new damage factor armor before deciding which armors to pull. This is also why I don't recommend pulling for Train Conductor armor despite it having the ideal stats. But I don't recommend waiting forever either, especially if you currently don't have any good armor. Just wait a month or 2 at most. I hope you guys understood what I was trying to say. Let's move on to the support armors. These are the armors which are made for supports. Let's see the details. First one is the Prince armor. This armor provides element defense and defense. I don't recommend this armor because 500 base element defense is needed, and we are better off with Cat or Stars armor. Next is the School armor. This one provides HP, magic defense, and also some element defense. This armor can be useful for bosses like Phoenix who mostly use magic attacks. Next is the Goth armor. This one provides element defense and damage limit. The element defense provided by this armor is very high, so it can be considered for builds with unarmed or grudge earring. Last one is the Bride armor. This one provides around 600 resilience and also element defense. It is currently the best armor for supports in my opinion, although a better armor may be released soon. And finally, the last category. Only 2 armors caught my interest in this category. These are old armors, so I don't think I need to explain. I still recommend dinner armor for new accounts because of the low investment requirements. Just get all the pieces and no need to limit break them. This armor is also great for solo stuff. As for the Demon Warrior, stay away from this. It may have been good before, but now it's not a good option even for new players in my opinion. You will be better off with Stars or Gunslinger armors in the long run. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments or contact me at the Discord. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. See you next time.